Beautiful day here in Nashville as we're back and ready to go with the Titans and the Broncos. Two teams with new head coaches here this week. John Fox on the Denver sideline came over from Carolina. He picked up his 79th career win last week against Cincinnati, his first leading the Broncos. And Mike Munchak, he had a Hall of Fame career with the Oilers before the franchise moved here to Tennessee. He was calm after week one, the loss to Jacksonville, and he was calm after his Titans dismantled that talented Ravens team here last Sunday for his first win as a head coach in the NFL. Tennessee won the toss. They've deferred to the second half, so the Broncos will have the football to start the game. And of course, with the rule change this year, the kickoff comes now from the 35-yard line. Juan Cosby, who just signed this week after 2 years of Cincinnati, is back deep, and Rob Baronis gives it a boot out of the end zone. So they'll bring it out and start 1st and 10 from the 20 after the touchback. Kyle Orton brings out the Broncos on offense. John Fox said he's my starter, he's a veteran, and he knows the offense as well as the coaches do. Last week against Cincinnati, 15 of 25 for 195 yards, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions.
Yeah, the game we mentioned in the open, that game he put together last week wasn't great statistically, but that's what a veteran quarterback is all about. He led that team and calmed them down when they didn't have literally enough guys to put on the football field.
Just underway here in Tennessee. Orton will throw on 1st down. McGahee tries to reverse his field and swarmed under for a loss. Broncos are young up front. They have those 2 huge tackles, both 6'8", and Ryan Clady and the rookie Orlando Franklin. Clady's been to the Pro Bowl. Backs and receivers, Brandon Lloyd returns after missing last week. And Moreno is up, but McGahee gets the start after his first 100-yard day as a Bronco. After the loss of 4, 2nd and 14 for Denver. McGahee, nice hole. Out to the 25-yard line. Here's the Titans defense. They played inspired ball last week against the Ravens up front. William Hayes is back, but Dave Ball has stepped in and had one of the 3 sacks on Joe Flacco in week 2. The linebackers, Barrett Ruud has established himself as a leader of this Titans defense, and in the secondary, Titans are again without safety Chris Hope. So Jordan Babineau goes today. He stepped in last week and helped shut down the Ravens' passing attack. So a pickup of 9, that brings up 3rd and 5 for Denver. Orton to Decker, and that's a 1st down across the 30, close to the 33-yard line. Jason McCourty made the stop.
And Decker's going to come across, comes in motion, then gets set, and this is just a simple little out route. McCourty giving him all the room in the world, and I think one of the things about this Tennessee team that we talked to the Broncos, and they say Tennessee keeps everything in front of them. They don't want to give up the big play. Those little short passes you can live with once in a while. Just don't let them get deep.
Decker is the motion man. 1st and 10. Opening possession for the Denver Broncos. They pick up the blitz, but Orton was nailed as he let the ball go. That was intended for Eric Decker. Yeah, Casey, the rookie, applied the pressure and came hard.
Yeah, and Babineau got in Orton's vision right away, so Orton had to pull it back down and go to his second option, and as he turned to his second option, he's looking right at 300-pound Jarrell Casey, the rookie out of USC, and took a big shot there, and that's really what caused the incompletion.
Orton has been sacked 7 times, the most in the AFC. They keep it on the ground. McGahee stopped at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Sean Smith was the first one there.
You talk about this Tennessee defense. This was last week against Baltimore. These aren't season numbers. That's just 1 week, and those are big numbers. That's a lot of pressure by that front 7 of the defense, and most of that pressure came from the front 4 only.
Empty backfield to spread them out. 3rd and 10 for Denver. Orton steps up, gets rid of it, incomplete. They'll have to punt, intended for Brandon Lloyd.
Orton got a little pressured, had to get rid of it, but the Titan defense dropped everybody into coverage. You see Barrett Ruud dropping back, the defensive back stepping in, and I'll tell you what, Alteron Werner just did not believe they were going to try and get deep on him. He squatted right down on that route and said, if you're going to go deep, you can have it, but I don't believe you are. That's why it was so well defended. He had no safety help over the top.
Britton Colquitt on to punt for Denver, coming off a career day. He averaged 51 yards a punt last week, and this is a boomer. Mariani retreating back to the 5. And swarmed under at the 10. A 62-yard punt. No score in Tennessee. And we're back to teams that came into week 3 at 1-1. The Titans won their home opener here last week in stunning fashion against the Ravens. The Broncos picked up their first win of the season, beating Cincinnati in Denver 24-22. Opening possession for the Titans. They give it to Chris Johnson, right side. He's bottled up. Matt Hasselbeck just cut up the Baltimore Ravens a week ago, throwing for 358 yards, the second most passing yards by a Titans quarterback in 6 years.
Yeah, he really played extremely well, and you see him waving at the sideline there as he's trying to get the play in. He's still, and we watched him practice during the week, and they still got a few logistical things working out, little problems with the radio and exactly what play they want him to run on a certain situation. He's got to find it on that wristband.
Loss of 2 on the previous play. They give it out to Britt. Across the 15 to the 17-yard line. Woodyard made the stop after a pickup of 8. Titans offensive line, they did a nice job protecting Hasselbeck last week against that aggressive Ravens defense. Ruse is one of the best in the league at left tackle. The backs and receivers, Chris Johnson has been quiet, but Kenny Britt has been a big-time playmaker for the Titans here in the early going. Missed some practice time this week, but said he's ready to go.
Yeah, he has really made up for the lack of production from Chris Johnson. The wide receivers really came through in a big way a week ago. Hasselbeck really finding some chemistry.
3rd and 4 for Tennessee. Hasselbeck to the sideline. That's going to be a first down. That's the big tight end, Jared Cook. They really like the size and athleticism that he brings to the tight end position here in Tennessee. That was good for 6 yards.
Yeah, and you see a cluster formation. All 3 guys take off. Cook is the last guy off the line of scrimmage. Hasselbeck looks down the middle of the field and comes back out late. Almost looks as though he knows Cook is going to be open, as Woodyard trying to run out to cover him late. Perfect play call against the coverage that the Broncos ran.
So 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line of the Tennessee Titans. Johnson is the lone setback. Short drop for Hasselbeck. Checks it down to Johnson. Out to the 32-yard line. Mays and Woodyard combined to make the stop. Look at the banged-up Broncos defense up front. They're still without Elvis Dumerville, so Jason Hunter goes at right defensive end. The linebackers, DJ Williams is up, but Woodyard starts at the will. Von Miller, of course, the 2nd overall pick last April. And in the secondary, Champ Bailey still out with a hamstring. Cassius Vaughn starting today in his place. 2nd and short for the Tennessee Titans. Johnson cuts it back, has some running room. And there's a marker down. Chris Johnson out to the 37.
64. Offense. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
John Perry, our referee today. So they'll bring it back after the 5-yard gain.
And everybody here in Tennessee is waiting on Chris Johnson to start performing like he has in the first few years of his career. I mean, this is a guy who has become, no question about it, an elite running back. And you talk about how upside down the fantasy world is these days because of Chris Johnson's slow start. And of course, that guy in Kansas City, Jamal Charles, who's out for the season. It's been an interesting year for running backs in the NFL.
He had the 35-day holdout, signed a $53 million deal, was back September 3rd, but still hasn't regained his old form. That's caught by Lavelle Hawkins. And he's about a yard short of a first down. Andre Goodman made the tackle.
It's really interesting when you watch Tennessee because Matt Hasselbeck came in with a completely clean slate. He doesn't have any relationships with these players. He's back as a veteran quarterback, usually you start to have safety security blankets. Right now, Hasselbeck doesn't care. Open guy gets the ball. Now, Kenny Britt has been getting the lion's share of footballs, but Hasselbeck has really shown confidence in every guy along the line and really has spread the football around in the first 3 weeks of the season.
They go from the shotgun on 3rd and 1. And a whistle before the snap.
Now, Hasselbeck doesn't like the call. Already, you can see there, he thinks he's right. Quarterbacks are usually on top of that stuff.
Ball start. Number 54. 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, they called it on the center, Amano, which is unusual. I mean, how does the guy who's snapping the ball false start unless it was a hitch on the snap? It could have been. Hasselbeck didn't like it at all. Let's take it right here. Oh, yeah, he flinched before he did it, just barely, and that's a ticky-tack call. I don't know, but yeah, technically, yes, it's a false start, but wow.
So they move it back to the 27-yard line, and 3rd and short becomes 3rd and 6. Hasselbeck sacked. Jonathan Wilhite coming on the corner blitz. Tennessee will have to punt.
Well, they had 3 clustered receivers at the top, and one of the guys covering those receivers comes off them. Doesn't expect, comes from out here and gets right to Hasselbeck. You see, he doesn't expect, with all those receivers over there, they've got to have enough guys to defend, and the Broncos went late to that defense and fooled him.
Showing some of that speed on defense. Quan Cosby retreats. This is a great punt. Feels it at the 21. Still on his feet. And out to midfield. A nice return by Quan Cosby after a 62-yard punt. A 30-yard return. Cosby signed this past week with Eddie Royal out, and he pays an early dividend. An exchange of 62-yard punts, but Denver with the benefit of the 30-yard return. They start exactly at midfield. 1st and 10. Miscommunication. Decker was running the slant. Orton thought he was going to go out. Well, manage all of your CBS Sports Fantasy Football teams on your mobile device. Download the free app today at cbssports.com/mobile.
Tennessee playing a few games up front as they kind of fooled Decker, the wide receiver. They didn't fool Orton, but they fooled Decker, and that's why the incompletion. Decker wasn't aware of what was going on with the defense. That's why he didn't look for the football.
Power I formation. The delay to McGahee. Flags all over the field.
Well, this is going to be encroachment on the defense right over the football.
At the snap, offside. Number 93. Defense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Sean Smith.
Yeah, he gives the universal signal, tapping his own chest, saying, yeah, that's my bad. They got him, just flinched, and he barely made it into the neutral zone, but he's sitting right over the football. You'll see, right? You see there, right there. He just, when you weigh that much, it's hard to get that.
You get it going in one direction.
Yeah,
it's hard to reverse course
on, even if it is just for a couple of inches.
So 2nd and 5. Denver into Titans territory. Nice hole on the left side. This is going to be a 1st down. Good running from Willis McGahee, coming off the 24th 100-yard rushing game of his career. Jordan Babineau made the stop after a pickup of 7.
Yeah, McGahee has really come into his own in this offense. He's going to come right up here into this area, and it's really well blocked up front by the Broncos. You see how they get to the 2nd level. The offensive line jumps out on the linebackers. McGahee, I think, is fit, perfectly suited for this type of running game.
Orton, incomplete. Brandon Lloyd was well covered, and Orton is down.
Jason Jones put a shot on him.
Passer, number 91. Defense. Contact to the quarterback's head. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
And that is, watch as he comes up, and this is just a bad play. And that's dumb. You can't do that unless you've been living under a rock in the NFL. You got to know you can't go in and lead with your head on a quarterback after the ball's gone.
And that'll march him all the way down to the 23-yard line.
That's an undisciplined play by Jones, who came in. And I know you want to send a message to the quarterback, and you can do that without leading with your head and laying the quarterback out.
So the Broncos are threatening. 6:30 left to go in the first. McGahee muscles down to the 20. Barrett Ruud made the tackle after a pickup of 3.
You know, when you get a quarterback who gets outside the pocket, you know the defensive linemen are always looking for that extra shot. You see there now they're still chirping about that shot that Orton took. Well, you can see the officials stepping in, trying to calm people down. But if it's going to get chippy, it's better to be the home team than the road team. Stepping in, trying to calm people down. But if it's going to get chippy, it's better to be the home team than the road team.
2nd and 7. Orton straight back, trying to set up the screen, and that was well defended. McGahee was the intended receiver, and he had Titans all around him.
There's one thing that the Broncos do. When it's a screen pass, watch Kyle Orton retreat from the center. Watch him. He's going to backpedal away from the center, and that's not what he does when they pass it. He turns and runs from the center when it's a throw. When it's a screen, he backpedals. That's a tip that the Titans are all over. They snapped one screen off early. They did it again because when he's throwing the screen, he doesn't drop back the same way.
Lance Ball has checked in as the running back on 3rd and 7. Short drop. They run the slant. Caught by Lloyd. First down inside the 10 for the Denver Broncos.
Lloyd back into the lineup. He's the only Bronco to ever lead the NFL in receiving yards and catches. And they missed him when he's not in there.
Coming off a spectacular Pro Bowl season, his first.
Yeah, we talked to Eric Decker yesterday. He said Lloyd is a great guy to have in the wide receiver room. And he's lighthearted, keeps guys loose, teaches them well, great leader, and a happy guy, keeps everybody positive. What a great player.
After the pickup of 11, 1st and goal from the 9 for Denver. McGahee fights his way down to the 5. Titans have not allowed a red zone touchdown coming into today. Tennessee allowed 3 red zone trips in their first 2 games, and all of them ended in field goals.
They've been good. They're very scrappy down, and it starts with that defensive line I've been talking about all day. They pursue very fast, and they all have high motors. I think that's one thing that sets them apart. Even their big guys who you don't expect to run hard always pursue.
3 receivers to the right. Orton checks it down. That's Ball. And he's dropped at the 5. Pickup of 1. It'll be 3rd and goal for Denver.
Well, Michael Griffin really made this play. Watch the pursuit as he comes in from this area right here. He sees it. It's a great job by the Broncos. It's really pretty well executed, but Tennessee reads it and pursues so fast they break the play off before it can get into the end zone.
Griffin, an underrated free safety in his 5th year out of Texas, former #1 pick. So 3rd and goal for Denver. Touchdown, Matthew Willis. A 5-yard touchdown pass from Orton to Willis.
Well, Willis is not the guy you're going to key on if you're the Titans. You're going to look at the tight end and everybody else, and Willis, the last guy you'd think is going to be the guy that Orton looks to, and the Titans just forget about him. They totally blow the coverage. The Broncos send the big tight end Fells right into the goal line, turned him around, and 6 guys jumped on him and left Willis wide open.
Later on to try the extra point, and with 3:45 left to go in the first, the Denver Broncos draw first blood. 7-0 here in Nashville.
Well, right here is Willis. And watch what happens as this play develops. Orton's going to go back, and when just before he releases the ball, you'll look and see who the Titans are focusing on. Right there, all those guys standing around the tight end, and Willis is wide open.
An 8-play, 50-yard drive set up by the 30-yard punt return by Quan Cosby. 5-yard touchdown pass, Orton to Willis. And it's 7-0 Denver.
And penalties killed the Titans on that drive. They did it to themselves as much as the Broncos did.
Prater has not had a kick returned, and that one will not be returned. They'll bring it out to the 20. That's for Matt Hasselbeck and company. We'll start first and 10, 3:45 left to go in the first. 128th straight sellout here at LP Field. Titans ready to go. Matt Hasselbeck off to a hot start. 4 of 4 to 4 different receivers after a 350-yard passing day last week against the Baltimore Ravens. Straight back, swings it out to Chris Johnson, who can't bring it in.
He nonchalanted it a little bit. He tried to pull it in one hand and thinking it was going to be an easy catch. It was a nice soft throw by Hasselbeck. Chris Johnson just didn't. He was thinking about running with it before he caught it. And watch, this is going to be a nice throw. And Chris Johnson going to try and pull it in with one hand. That's just a little too nonchalant.
Smattering of boos as you look at Champ Bailey over on the Denver sideline, still out. Future Hall of Famer. 2nd and 10 for the Titans. Showing blitz, and here they come. Chris Johnson just has not been able to get to the second level.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos are coming up late right before the snap, throwing an 8th guy into the box, just anticipating that. Watch, and there's all these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there'll be an 8th guy coming in right there. There it is, right there. And that's Brian Dawkins coming in, just making sure they got one extra defender.
So 3rd and 8 for Tennessee. Javon Ringer has checked in now. Hasselbeck, plenty of time. Washington, but he's going to be short of a first down.
Yeah, the Titans have got to do a better job on 1st and 2nd down. The drop pass by Chris Johnson put him in a bad spot, and then the bad run play with 8 guys in the box against the Bronco defense, and they end up punting. I mean, it's a good series by the Broncos defense, and they got a little help with a drop pass on 1st down.
Von Miller, the rookie, made the tackle, so that will bring out the punting unit. 4th and 1, Quan Cosby.
There's only a handful of positions in football that you can just show up and play, and they're all on special teams. Punt returner's one of them.
Let him go, let him go, let him go.
Cosby retreats from the 20. This is another good return. Out across the 35-yard line. Some extra pushing and shoving. Sort that out. 2:13 left to go in the first. A 51-yard punt.
A moment ago, you see there, a little bad blood.
And McGahee is brought down hard by William Hayes, who's back after battling a shoulder injury. Loss of a yard.
Yes.
These two teams played here in Tennessee almost exactly a year ago, and in that meeting, the Titans held the Broncos to the 2nd lowest rushing total in Denver franchise history, just 19 yards, but there was a lot of extracurricular activity in that game. Spread out the offense, the slant, Brandon Lloyd with the catch, across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Griffin made the stop after a gain of 6.
That's one of the things that you see here. The Tennessee defense does a lot of things that other teams aren't able to do. They roll in a lot of defensive linemen. They ran in 4 new defensive linemen right after that 2nd down play, and it gives them fresh bodies to rush Orton every play. And they also run in a lot of defensive backs, wholesale changes that keep guys fresh for the Tennessee defense.
Lance Ball is checked in the backfield with Orton from the shotgun. 3rd and 5. That was tipped and incomplete. Intended for Fells, the tight end.
Derek Morgan and Dave Ball, the two defensive ends, dropped all the way back in coverage. Look at this. The two defensive ends are back covering the tight end, and they send linebackers and DBs to rush the passer.
And that was Dave Ball who got a piece of it. Disrupted the timing. So we'll see the punter again, Colquitt. 62-yard effort in his first punt. Mariani is back deep for Tennessee. This is a high boot. Mariani fields it at the 11-yard line and brought down at the 15. And let's check in with JB in New York for an update from week 3.
Houston looking to go 3-0 for the first time, Coach.
I'll tell you what, an opening drive, they had 5 passes, 4 rushes. This pass, Owen Daniels, 14 yards out. I'm going to tell you, New Orleans defense is on its heels. This is a balanced Houston offense, boy.
Neil Rackers, a 22-yard field goal, makes it 10-0 Houston. Back to Bill and Steve.
Well, Houston's always been able to score points. It's been their defense, and now with the acquisition of Wade Phillips as coordinator and the lack of Peyton Manning in the AFC South, that becomes Houston's division to lose.
Nearing the end of the first quarter, Titans have not scored in the first quarter. Nice hole on the left side for Chris Johnson. Finally gets to the second level, but there's a marker down. See if the 11-yard gain stands up.
Holding, number 88, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down. Craig
Stevens, and they'll bring it back.
Penalties continue to be a problem here in the early going for the Titans. They're just shooting themselves in the foot. This is really you look at it, that's the best play Chris Johnson has had for the season, and it's coming back. And it was really well blocked up front. Stevens got called for just the hold, but that was well executed up to that point.
Mike Munchak was interesting in our meeting with him. He said, well, we showed how we handle adversity. Now let's see how we handle success. Johnson on the check down out to the 20-yard line. Miller and Woodyard combined to make the tackle.
I think they're going to try to find new ways. I mean, we've seen him throw the football to Chris Johnson a few times this game. I think it's going to become a bigger part until he finds himself.
So that's the end of the first quarter with our score Denver 7, the Titans nothing. We'll return to Nashville after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Ready to start the second quarter. Interesting numbers for the Tennessee Titans. 45 yards in penalties, only 46 yards of offense.
When you talk about balance, that's not what you're talking about.
No penalties yet for the Denver Broncos. So 2nd and 4 for the Titans. Johnson trying to get to the edge and can't turn the corner. Jason Hunter drove him out of bounds.
I think at this early stage, I think Chris Palmer, offensive coordinator of the Titans, they're going to have to find a way to get the ball in Matt Hasselbeck's hands and let him make some decisions in the passing game. And their running game is so much a focus of the Broncos defense right now that they can't get anything going. They're going to have to use the pass to set up the run and not vice versa.
A loss of 1 on the play, so 3rd and 5, empty backfield for the Titans. Denver showing blitz. And here they come with the extra rusher, lofted up the sidelines and caught. Was Chris Johnson inbounds. Lined up as a wide receiver. Well, they want to find ways to get him the ball.
Yeah, and Hasselbeck's hurrying them to the line because he doesn't want them to challenge this play. And if you got a guy that has world-class speed, put him out there against a linebacker, and I think that's a good catch. I don't think they have to hurry this snap at all. They don't want this to be reviewed. There's no question. That's as good a catch as it can be, and that's a bad challenge by John Fox.
34 yards on the play.
By Denver. Complete or incomplete pass. We'll review the play.
It's not all bad for the Titans because it does force the Broncos to challenge it in a hurry when they're not quite sure, and it's going to cost them a timeout.
Broncos have challenged the 34-yard reception by Chris Johnson.
It really was a nice job by Matt Hasselbeck, hurrying his team to the line, forcing the Broncos to make a decision. In this case, we believe, and I think it's going to be the wrong decision. It's going to cost him a timeout.
After review, it is a catch with possession, left knee, inbounds. Player maintained possession of the ball throughout the act of the catch. Denver will be charged the first team timeout. Clock will start on the snap.
So not only do you get the big gain from Chris Johnson on the great catch, you also cost the Broncos a timeout. And here's the play right there. No question, he's in bounds, he's got the ball, and he finishes the catch, doesn't bobble it at all. And that's a great matchup. Woodyard's a good linebacker, but Chris Johnson has world-class speed. Woodyard cannot keep up with him. That's why Hasselbeck found him.
Titans with their first snap in Bronco territory. Javon Ringer has checked in, and they get it to him. Ringer cuts it back inside, a first down for Tennessee. Inside the 35, down to the 33. Andre Goodman made the stop after a pickup of 13.
That's what one good play can do. It's a spark that gets you started. Now the Titans seem to have a better handle offensively. Chris Johnson got in the game, made a great play. Then they give the ball to Ringer. They got the timeout from the Broncos. Things seem to turn around really on that one long pass play down the sideline to Chris Johnson.
First and 10. Mariani is the motion man. Give it to him on the reverse. Trying to get to the perimeter and out of bounds at the 30. Woodyard was waiting. Pick up a 4.
That play is a response to what the Broncos have been doing against Chris Johnson in the running game. They've got to keep the Broncos from collapsing on Chris Johnson. And Kenny Britt, 215 pounds, 6'3". That's a pretty good guy to have blocking for you against a running back. Now, Andre Goodman's a good back, but he's a good defensive back, but that's 5'10", 198 pounds. He's just not physically able to do that.
Kenny Britt has been quiet in the passing game. Only one reception for 8 yards so far. Ringer. Wow. Stopped cold. Broderick Bunkley with the tackle.
Well, that was a great play by Bunkley. He made a nice little quick stunt inside and just stepped right into the running lane. I mean, that's a tough guy to block when you got a guy that big playing defensive tackle, and he can make an explosive move like he did right over the guard, working against Leroy Harris. That was a great tackle.
And he's one of the players that John Fox singled out as a guy who's been making plays for the Broncos on defense. So 3rd and 7 for Tennessee. Trying to keep this drive going. They trail by 7. 12 and a half minutes left in the half. Hasselbeck, center of the field. That's caught. Nate Washington. Down inside the 15. First down, Tennessee. A pickup of 16 yards.
And once again, the Broncos focusing on Kenny Britt, and leaves Nate Washington the opportunity to do the little stick and move to the outside. Great pattern. Great throw by Hasselbeck. You see how he went down low on the delivery and kind of delivered around the side of the defensive lineman. Great play on both ends of that route. Matt Hasselbeck's delivery and, of course, Washington's catch.
And he's developed into a nice complement for Kenny Britt, averaging 83 yards a game through the first 2 weeks of the season. Play action on the boot to the end zone. Touchdown! Nate Washington.
And Nate Washington came out, ran a deep out, and Hasselbeck was going to try and hit the tight end coming across for his little short gain, but he had time. The tight end was covered. Watch as he comes out, and this ball's low into the outside, just the pivot. Hasselbeck's already let that ball go. That's a great job of getting his hands underneath the football. And from that angle, that looks like a good catch. We'll see if the officials are going to look at it, and they are not.
He beat Cassius Vaughn, who's playing for Champ Bailey. So the touchdown will stand. Baronis on to try the extra point. We're tied up at 7 with 11:37 left to play in the half. Hasselbeck to Nate Washington, and the Titans are on the board. Tied up in Tennessee after the 14-yard touchdown pass to Nate Washington. Set up by a 34-yard reception by Chris Johnson.
And that's why you need a guy like Nate Washington opposite Kenny Britt, because if they start taking the number 1 guy away, you got to have a number 2 guy that can win. And Nate Washington is that guy. And he's done an outstanding job. And Hasselbeck, veteran quarterback, finding the open guy.
Continues to be impressive. 5 of 5 on that drive. Juan Cosby, 2 yards deep in the end zone. Could not get to the outside. Brought down at about the 17-yard line.
Yeah, and people wonder how they get the idea of, are they gonna review it or not? There's the head official. The referee's John Perry. He's looking. He looks down at the beeper, and he says, okay, that's a good play. And he gives the signal, and that's what he's looking at. Review or confirm, and that's a confirm is what he saw right there. Put the thing back on his belt and said, let's play.
As part of the NFL rule changes this season, automatic booth review after every scoring play. So let's see how the Broncos respond. McGahee is the deep back. Play action, Orton. And that's caught. What a grab by Fells. Out close to midfield, and that quiets the crowd.
Well, he was pretty well defended by Barrett Ruud. You see there as he picks him up, he gets underneath this throw, and it just goes over his hand. Ruud does a nice job, but it was a sensational throw and catch by the Broncos. Fells, great catch by the tight end, and I can't tell you how good a throw that was from Orton. Knew he had to get it over the linebacker, and that's why a quarterback is a quarterback. They can throw it over a guy and fit it in just in the right spot. Tremendous throw.
Put it the only place he could. Pick up of 32 yards. McGahee into Tennessee territory. Muscles his way down to the 47-yard line. A pickup of 4. Babineau made the tackle.
You can feel kind of the emotion of this game. Now both teams are into it. The Titans getting all kinds of penalties in the early going. Then the big play to Chris Johnson sets them up. The Broncos had the great drive, aided by the penalties of the Titans. Now both teams kind of working their offense. They're done sparring now. I think they're going to start slugging it out.
2nd and 6 for Denver. Trying to respond to the Tennessee touchdown. Showing blitz. Here they come. They pick it up nicely. Intercepted! Jason McCourty. He had a big interception last week against the Ravens and returned it 30 yards. Another one here against the Broncos. And we're back. Kyle Orton, after throwing the interception, picked off by Jason McCourty. 2nd straight game with an interception. 1st and 10. Johnson. Caught by a shoelace, but keeps his feet. And gets it close to midfield before he's pushed back. Let's take another look at that interception, Steve, after the pickup of 5.
Well, you'll see why it happens. It's an overthrow. Barrett Ruud is going to be right in the line of where Orton's got to throw the football. He tries to throw it over Ruud, and that sails on him. He overthrows it. Watch right here, the angle. See, that ball goes right over the top of Barrett Ruud, so Orton doesn't want to throw it low and give him a shot at it. But in that case, he can't get it down in front where Decker can get it.
Offset eye on 2nd down. Johnson trying to bounce it to the outside, and he's just swarmed under for a loss. Back to the 45-yard line. Joe Mays led the charge. Let's check in once again with JB in New York.
Darren Sproles, pretty good pickup, huh, Coach?
I'll tell you, might have been the best free agent acquisition in the offseason. There's a first rushing touchdown for the New Orleans Saints, who are going to get on track. You know, it's just a matter of time. They cut it to 10-7, 30-yard run, Sproles.
Back to Bill McAtee, Steve Tasker.
All right, JB, thank you very much. 3rd and 9 for the Titans. From the shotgun. They were coming with the all-out blitz, And a catch by Nate Washington. The defensive back got turned around, and Washington just came back and got it.
They're going to chuckle in films over this one. Hasselbeck throws this absolutely in self-defense. He has no chance. This ball comes out of there like a mortar shot. Look at this. Was supposed to be a deep pass. Watch the pressure. Hasselbeck, watch him just duck, chuck it and duck.
They brought everybody.
I mean, he had no shot. He missed. They missed him. They didn't get a shot at him, and he completed that pass unbelievably lucky.
Somehow they come away with a 22-yard gain. Great penetration there. Ringer. Stopped at the 36-yard line. Andre Goodman had that penetration.
That was an unbelievable completion, and then the Broncos come right back and continue to just stuff the Titan running game. Look, this is completely unblocked. Kenny Britt can't get in there fast enough. Goodman just slices in front of the receiver. You know, there's just so much space out there. He just came out unblocked. They're really doing a good job against the Tennessee run game, are the Denver Broncos.
2nd and 13. Hasselbeck 11 of 12 for 147 yards. That's Cook, the tight end, to the 30.
That's a nice play. As Cook continues to roll and spin and gain a few yards on second and long like it was. Just get half of it so it gives you a chance on 3rd down so you're not 3rd and long. Hasselbeck continuing to spread the football around, but sooner or later this Tennessee team is going to have to run the football, and Denver just hasn't let them do it thus far.
Ringer stays in the game in the backfield with Hasselbeck on 3rd down. Britt! And how did that get through there? Wow!
Yeah.
Talk about fitting it into a window.
You can see there Hasselbeck ran out and started talking to Lavelle Hawkins. Watch this play. Britt gets hit 10 or 15 yards down the field, runs right into Joe Mays. But Hasselbeck kind of sidearms that one in there as well. A couple of really weird completions for Hasselbeck, but Tennessee continues to march down the field with their passing game.
And they all count. That was good for 13 yards. 1st and 10 for Tennessee. Titans on the move. Play action. Britt. Nowhere to go. Ball's on the ground. A turnover. Robert Ayers comes away with it. And Britt is down.
Kenny Britt, that would be a huge loss if he is unable to continue or gets injured significantly. It looked like it almost happened before the ball came out. I think he dropped the ball out of cringing in pain. We'll have to see.
So a timeout on the field. 5:55 left to go in the half. We're back. Kenny Britt leaving the field on a cart. We'll show you where the injury occurred after this play. McGahee picks up 1. And let's take a look at the play where the injury and the turnover occurred.
Watch, just as his right leg came down there, and he just, you can tell what a painful thing it was. He just lets the ball go, says, take it, I can't. Again, watch right there. You see his knee kind of buckle sideways, and that's it for him.
So big turnover for the Denver Broncos, 2nd and 9. Slant incomplete. Lloyd, the intended receiver, well covered by Finnegan.
And Lloyd just batted that ball down. It looked like he wasn't ready for it. It looked like it was hard work not to catch that football. That was a good throw by Orton on the quick slant. Just trying to pick up some yardage to get into a 3rd and short. And watch this, he just bats it down. He just got beat up by that one.
3rd and long for the Denver Broncos. Empty backfield. They spread them out. Orton steps up, double clutch, slides down, but there's a flag on the play.
Oh, this is going to be another penalty on the Titans. They either lined up in the neutral zone or jumped into the neutral zone.
Offside. Defense, number 90, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's just not thinking. That's a lack of discipline. It's just not being ready to, it's not really that difficult. Just lined up.
6 penalties, 50 yards for the Titans. No penalties for the Broncos. 3rd and 4. McGahee is the lone back. They pitch it back to him, trying to cut back inside. What a great defensive play. Terrific penetration. Jordan Babineau starting today at strong safety for Chris Hope. That was a loss of 4.
Well, watch the pursuit as it comes out. It's all coming this direction. They just run this play down. He tries to get to the outside, and it's a great job by McCourty of just shutting off the sideline, allowing this pursuit from the inside to make the tackle.
So we'll see Colquitt on 4th down. Mariani back deep for Tennessee, standing at his own 28-yard line. Returnable. And a nice run back out across the 40 to the 43-yard line by Mariani after the 47-yard punt, a 12-yard return. We're back, and coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 3. That's all coming up from New York on the Sprint Halftime Report.
As we close in on the 2-minute warning here, get inside of 4 minutes left in the half, it's going to be up to the Titans to overcome the loss of Kenny Britt, at least for the time being. It looks like they would probably plug in Lavelle Hawkins at wide receiver. Also Damian Williams in there as well.
And it is Damian Williams who has checked in. He's in the slot, I formation. Johnson, still nothing.
And that's been the modus operandi this season for Chris Johnson. It has not been the way he wanted to start out his new contract that he held out for. But when you have the kind of career early in your young career like he's had, you get a lot of attention. I mean, he is the superstar on this football team, and as long as he's on the field, he is the focal point of the defense.
And we get word that they're looking at Kenny Britt's right knee, and as of this moment, his return is questionable. Broncos showing blitz. They come off the edge, pick it up, Hasselbeck, and that is caught by Washington.
Now it's waved off. Oh, the side judge came in from a long way away and waved this off. They're saying Nate Washington let this hit the ground. We'll get a look at it here. Oh no, he caught that. He caught that pass. Yeah, that's a good challenge. Mike Munchak immediately threw the red flag out, and he's going to question it. That is a good challenge. That's amazing that Mike Munchak got a quick look at it. He immediately...
Previous play, it's been challenged by Tennessee that it's a completed catch versus incomplete.
I think it's a good challenge, at least by that last replay that we saw. And it happens so fast out there, and it's such a difficult thing for these coaches. John Fox had to make a quick decision early in the game, and it was wrong. This one I think is right. He gets his hand right there. He's got his hands underneath the football. And it never touches right there either. Well,
was that conclusive for you?
Well, I was an wide receiver, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is a great angle here.
Oh, that ball never touched.
Did it touch the ground? Was his hand
underneath? It certainly doesn't there as he rolls over.
Showing it on the big screen here. The crowd, unbiased as they are, thinks it's a catch.
Well, this is the question. Right down there, and that ball doesn't hit there. We'll see, does it hit right there? That's the question, and it doesn't look to me like it does, and right there it does not. So it could be. Now the call on the field was incomplete, and it was waved off from 20 yards away by a guy on the sideline. So he sees that right there, and he thinks that's on the ground. It's not. Yeah, I think that's a catch.
Meanwhile, while we wait, how about this start by Matt Hasselbeck? 14 of 15 up until that play for 163 yards, and the only incomplete pass was arguably a drop.
Well, the Broncos are forcing Matt Hasselbeck to beat him. Right now, he's tied with them. They're taking Chris Johnson in the running game completely out of the equation for the Titans. And every time it's been that they hand the ball off to Chris Johnson, it has been a wasted down.
John Perry, our referee, will give us the verdict.
After reviewing the play stands.
Ooh.
As called. Third down.
I don't think so.
Nate doesn't agree.
Well, it wasn't conclusive evidence, and the officials aren't going to overturn it. And that's got to make you steam a little bit if you're Mike Munchak, because the guy who's responsible for calling it, the field judge, is all the way back. He made it a completed catch, and a guy came in from the sideline to wave it off.
So 3rd and 9, Lavelle Hawkins has checked in, along with Nate Washington and Damian Williams. Williams was the motion man. Hasselbeck tried to get it to Chris Johnson, who had some running room, but incomplete, and that'll bring out the punting unit.
That Matt Hasselbeck thought he had it. He put that right on Chris Johnson, had a little too much pepper on it. If Chris Johnson catches this, it could have been a touchdown, and Hasselbeck knows it. Joe Mays covering Chris Johnson, lost him for a step, and that's all it was going to take. They just couldn't make the completion.
Brett Kern, who was originally signed by the Broncos as a rookie free agent back in 2008 and played a season and a half for Denver. Putting on quite a show so far. Does a good job fielding that. Now he's going to have to take off. And this is going to be a first down for Tennessee. That was not planned. And Kern is down, slow getting up. Quan Cosby came up and made the tackle.
Yeah, Kern didn't get out of bounds like he should have, and he looked like he was going to try and stay inbounds deliberately, and he got a shot, but what a great job. You'll see it's a bad snap, and he thinks about getting it off, and then there's no way, so he puts a little stick move on and gets around Raheem Moore, tucks it away, and it's the first down, and right there, he's just got to get down. I mean, that's... Raheem Moore comes in and just misses him.
Take a look at how he's carrying the football. He's got to get in on that lecture of high and tight.
And it's not a bad play by Cosby, who comes in low. I mean, Kern's got a blocker in front of him, and Cosby's not going to take that guy on. He goes in low, and it ends up kind of hurting Kern.
And that is caught at the 30-yard line. That was a gain, by the way, of 21 yards by the punter, Kern. And they will spot it right at the 30-yard line. Nate Washington with the catch. Pick up a 5. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning. Fireworks here in Tennessee. We're tied at 7. After the poor snap and run, Brett Kern is now the leading rusher for the Tennessee Titans with 21 yards. That's not good. Mariani on the hitch. Fights his way forward, close to a first down. Coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 3. That's all coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report. 3rd and 1 for the Titans. Ringer. Again, great defense at the point of attack by the Denver Broncos.
Well, this is a really tough game up front. Mike Munchak calling Matt Hasselbeck over. It looks like he's going to think about maybe going for it or letting play go as the Broncos call a timeout now to save time. With 1:16 left, they feel like they're going to get this football back.
Well, the NFL celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month. Visit the official Spanish language home of the NFL at NFL.com/Espanol for game highlights, fantasy football, and a look at your team's Hispanic Heritage Month celebration.
Interesting move here by Mike Munchak. Did not send his field goal team out there. Now Chris Palmer out on the field talking to Matt Hasselbeck, trying to get a play call on a 4th and 3.
Mike has shown that he's not afraid to go for it on 4th down.
Well, we asked him about that. He did it last week and got it. And he says every situation's different. I mean, I can't really have a rule. I just got to go a little bit by feel. And as a player, an offensive lineman, I think he always feel like you give it to your players on the field, let them go for it.
Now an I formation.
This might be the... They're not going to snap this.
And he takes a timeout as the play clock reaches 0. Well, we talked about the 4th down conversions last week. They had a big one in the 3rd quarter. Javon Ringer on the misdirection for the go-ahead touchdown on 4th and 1 from the Ravens' 10-yard line. And then on the final drive, Hasselbeck to Quinn Johnson for 13 yards on a 4th and 1, and that helped seal the win.
Yeah, he knows, and he told us, he goes, you know, you go for it on 4th and 1 early in the game, and you get it, it's all great and good. He knows, but I guess I know you open yourself up for second guessing whenever you go for it and miss it on 4th down, but every situation's different.
Baronis on to try a 46-yard field goal. Plenty of leg and good. And for the first time, the Titans take the lead. 10-7, 1:11 left to go in the half. Let's take another look.
Well, the Denver Broncos are going to get this football back with 1:11 to go. It'll be interesting to see if they do go no huddle. We talked to Kyle Orton, and when the Tennessee Titans roll in all those fresh defenders, you got to have a plan for it, and the Broncos do. We'll see what happens in the last 1:10.
Rob Baronis had 4 field goals last week against the Ravens. Well, the new season is underway. CBS has the #1 drama, the #1 new drama, the #1 new show, and the #1 show. Thanks for making CBS #1. Kyle Orton will have just over a minute to work with. Field goal set up by the nice improvisation by the punter, Brett Kern. 46-yard field goal by Baronis, who's been one of the NFL's most accurate kickers throughout his career.
Yeah, and that's the snap that he had to field is just one more issue that Mike Munchak and his coaching staff are going to have to address at halftime. They got the running game they've got to address, the penalty problems they've got to address, Kenny Britt's absence they've got to talk about. They got some things they're going to have to iron out at halftime, but it's better to do it with a lead than trailing.
Cosby, newly signed this past week, 5 yards deep in the end zone. Baronis, and this will be unreturnable. So they'll bring it out to the 20. Kyle Orton set to go to work.
Come out on the field in this situation, really you're thinking field goal if you're the Denver Broncos, unless you snap off a big play, and then it gets into the point where you think maybe even try for a touchdown. But at this point, just get some first downs to get into field goal range.
Lance Ball is in the backfield. They rush 4, batted down. And the crowd wants a flag.
Yeah, that was
for a late hit.
We're going to talk about chippy. That's chippy. You'll see knocks it down, and then
Jason Jones
goes right down after him. Cooper jumps right down on his back.
And he's a brawler. He's not afraid to mix it up. 2nd and 10. Orton underneath. Willis out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Witherspoon made the stop. Broncos up in a hurry. Clock continuing to run. 50 seconds left in the half. Orton got rid of it just in time. Ball the intended receiver. That'll stop the clock. 40 seconds left.
And he takes a good shot, and that is legal. And they let up on it. That's a good play. And these two teams, there was a fight in this game between these two teams last year where Cortland Finnegan went after Chris Cooper. And obviously, it must be part of the DNA of this game because it's still going on.
2nd and 10. Orton stands in the pocket to Ball, and he's brought down short of the 35-yard line. Alteron Werner made the stop after a pickup of 4.
Yeah, the clock continues to run. Denver going to go no huddle, but they're not really with a sense of urgency.
Again underneath, and the Titans will give them that all day. Witherspoon lowered the boom.
And that hurts. And now, with 7 seconds left, the Titans take a timeout. And that hurts. That didn't feel good. Witherspoon is a big linebacker.
Veteran playmaker for the Titans at outside linebacker, coming off a solid game last week against the Ravens in his 10th year out of Georgia. Mike Munchak.
That's a great job by the Tennessee defense, forcing the Broncos to punt. They put 2 seconds back on the clock now with 9 seconds to go. Basically give the Tennessee Titans do one of two things: either rush the punt, try and get a big play down deep, or set up for a return, or maybe one of those double reverse returns, trying to do something to make something happen in this last play of the half. And the Broncos right now are just trying to get that last 9 seconds off the clock.
Colquitt back at his own 25-yard line. Mariani is the deep man for Tennessee, standing back at the Titans' 15. Mariani makes the fair catch at the 15-yard line. 3 seconds remaining in the half. 45-yard punt.
It's been a defensive struggle. We have seen some good things on both sides of the ball offensively. The Titans with a couple of good completions from Hasselbeck that set up the field goal, and also both teams willing to put together a scoring drive. It was pretty impressive, but that's it. I mean, neither team has really dominated offensively. It's been all about both defenses stopping the run game and then forcing the offenses to throw the football to have any success.
Titans will take a knee. Hasselbeck with 172 yards in the first half, but he'll be without Kenny Britt in the second half.
The Broncos continue to play well without their stars in Elvis Dumervil. And of course, Champ Bailey not in the lineup defensively, still more than holding their own against Tennessee's offense. And then Tennessee during the game missing Kenny Britt. We'll see how both teams adjust.
They'd love to get 28 going. That's the end of the first half. Back with the Sprint halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. We're back at LP Field, 10-7 Tennessee at the half. Bill McAtee and Steve Tasker. The Denver defense has played pretty well so far, but you can't say enough about Matt Hasselbeck.
Well, a guy who's 16 of 19 in the first half, and a game where the Denver defense has done everything it could to stop the run. They've done a phenomenal job of doing that. Usually when that happens, the quarterback struggles in the passing game because he gets backed into a corner. Hasn't affected Matt Hasselbeck at all. He's been the difference in the first half.
All right, let's take a look at the first half numbers.
And the rush yards, and the running backs for Tennessee have only had 10 attempts, and 6 of those have been stuffed for negative yardage. Neither of these teams can get anything going on the ground. It's going to fall to the defenses and who can get pressure on that quarterback, and who's going to win this game.
Time now for our mobile recap presented by Verizon, and it was an improvised play from Brett Kern, who avoids Quentin Carter, and what a great job by the punter to keep the drive alive on 4th down. That led to a field goal and the difference in the ball game.
Most games in the NFL are won by plays that aren't drawn up, and that includes everybody, your punter and all of them.
Titans won the toss. They deferred to the second half, so they'll have the football to start the third quarter. Mariani is back deep, 5 yards deep in the end zone.
And you know Tennessee at halftime was talking about that running game and getting it going and how they were going to make up for Kenny Britt's absence and also getting more pressure on Kyle Orton and trying to force a turnover from the Broncos.
And here we go in the second half. Booming kick. And they'll bring it out to the 20. Mariani says it was good.
Yeah, that's, every time you see a kickoff these days, it's like it is high, it is far, it is gone.
So Hasselbeck, 16 of 19, 172 yards and a touchdown. Man with 3 Pro Bowls with Seattle, went over 30,000 yards for his career last week against the Ravens. Opening possession of the second half from the 20. Chris Johnson straight ahead. Picks up a yard.
It's not getting any easier.
9 carries in week 1. He got 24 carries last week for 53 yards against the Ravens, but still nowhere close to where the Titans want him to be. Came in averaging less than 2.5 yards a carry. Second and 9. Just underway in the second half here in Nashville. Showing blitz. Keep it on the ground. Still no running room for number 28.
And you don't want to come across as being stubborn, but you got to give the guy a chance to get on track. Chris Johnson I'm talking about, and Chris Palme, offensive coordinator, trying to do it. You know they made some adjustments in what they were going to try and do up front in front of Chris Johnson, and you see there, I mean, that's a big drop-off, even though we're 3 games into the season and he was held out for most of the preseason. That's just bad numbers.
21 of those yards came from the punter, Kern. Hasselbeck's going to have to move a little bit, make some play with his feet, and that's Damian Williams in his second year out of USC with the catch.
And that's a great play by Matt Hasselbeck. It looked like he was going to try and run. He knew. The scramble's fantastic because you think, wow, he's going to try and get it, and there's no way he's going to pick up that 3rd and 8. So he decides not to even try it and give Williams a chance to break off the route, and he does it. Great job by Damian Williams coming back to the football and helping out Hasselbeck.
Transferred to USC and had a great career for the Trojans. That was good for 19 yards and a first down. From the Tennessee 41-yard line. Hasselbeck underneath. That's Quinn Johnson, the fullback. He's brought down at midfield. Big hit by Wesley Woodyard, who lost his helmet after a pickup of 9.
Well, that's a train wreck, and we could all see it coming as Woodyard wasn't going to let up, and you know Johnson wasn't. Oh.
Johnson came over from Green Bay, starting for Ahmad Hall, who is serving a suspension of 4 games for violating the NFL's performance-enhancing substance abuse policy. Second and 2 from midfield. Johnson trying to muscle his way for a first down.
Looks like he might have it, and that's an interesting play that Tennessee runs. It's a pitch play, but it's not a wide run. It's more of an off-tackle play off the pitch, and Chris Johnson gets to pick his spot. And one more way of trying to get him going in the run games, pitch him the football, and let him pick a spot where the defense is, and instead of handing it to him with a specific hole to run through, they just say, here's the ball, pick your spot, and picked up the first down.
He gets it into Denver territory. He's spotted at the 49-yard line. Kenny Britt is still in the locker room. No update on his situation. We'll pass it along to you as soon as we get it. Short drop for Hasselbeck. Quick out. That's Washington who's going to have to pick up the slack. Wilhite, the nickelback, made the stop.
Wow, and that's another great reception by Washington. Watch, this ball gets batted and it starts wobbling. There's nothing more difficult to catch than a tipped pass for a wide receiver. You're just not used to doing it. Watch, it's just going to get grazed right there, and it just gets to Washington. He picks it off. Good catch.
That was good for 6 yards. 2nd and 4. Hasselbeck will throw again. Gets rid of it just in time. And that is incomplete. Lavelle Hawkins was the intended receiver, and he couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, and the Broncos are starting to bring pressure on Hasselbeck. Jonathan Wilhite came off on a corner blitz, and you'll see it. He takes a shot right there as he releases it, and there's no excuse for this except that it's a pretty hard tackle, and you got to finish it completely. See, that is an incomplete pass. Joe Mays does a great job. The receiver almost has to get up and hand it to the official for them to call it a reception.
That brings up 3rd and 4. Trips left. Hasselbeck underneath. Hawkins atones for the drop ball, and he's got a first down. Wilhite made the stop.
Well, you talk about Matt Hasselbeck, and notice all these passes are very short, very quick throws, and Matt Hasselbeck is a West Coast offense guy, which is a lot of this stuff. This is right in Matt Hasselbeck's wheelhouse. He knows how to sort through traffic and pick a guy quick and get rid of the football, and as long as the Broncos are going to give him that short passing game, Hasselbeck's going to pick him apart.
From the 38-yard line, fresh set of downs for the Titans. Washington is the motion man. Again, the short drop, flush from the pocket. And again, Chris Johnson had an open field, but Hasselbeck couldn't get it to him.
Yeah, Hasselbeck, the thing that I didn't realize until I started watching him this year is Hasselbeck really is nifty in the pocket. Watch as he moves away from the pressure. You see there, he feels it, and he directs traffic and then puts the ball out there. It really helps your offense and your offensive line so much when a quarterback can make his own protection. And that's what he did in that instance.
Javon Ringer has checked in. 2nd and 10, the delay to Ringer.
I'll tell you, Javon Ringer's going to wish he'd stayed in bed today. He hasn't gotten positive yardage yet on a carry. He is just getting crushed in the backfield.
4 carries, -6 yards. The Broncos have done a good job handling the running game of these Tennessee Titans. 3rd and 10.
Oh, and that's defensive coordinator for the Broncos right there.
Dennis Allen in his first season after 3 years in New Orleans coaching the secondary. Hasselbeck has time, incomplete. That was a good break on the ball. Hawkins was the intended receiver. Wilhite knocked it away.
Yeah, and that's what happens. You get into a 3rd and long. You can't really hit a short pass because the guy will never break the tackle to make the first down, and Hasselbeck had to wait for the route to develop, and the Broncos saw it coming.
So now we'll see Brett Crazy Legs Kern. 4th and 10.
He seems to be okay. He did get up gimpy from the last run he had.
It was an 11-play drive. Trying to get it inside the 20. Fair catch made at the 19 by Cosby. That's where the Broncos will take over. 1st and 10. We're back. Tennessee Titans have done a good job defensively, giving up just 100 yards of total offense to the Broncos so far. Denver goes 1st and 10 from the 20. Decker has got a first down. Well, tonight on CBS, former NFL player Marcus Pollard competes on The Amazing Race. plus Survivor winners Ethan and Jenna. Don't miss the season premiere of The Amazing Race tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS. First and 10 from the 30. McGahee is the deep back. They give it to number 23. Picks up a yard or two. Jarrell Casey, the rookie out of USC, made the stop.
Both defenses continuing to do a great job against the run. McGahee kind of ducking for a yard-and-a-half gain there. The defensive lines of these two clubs have really played extremely well. And the offensive lines, neither of these offensive lines have been noted as being poor. I mean, the Tennessee line's pretty good, but neither team can do anything against that defensive front.
Second and 9. This Titans crowd comes alive. Orton checks it down to Fells, center of the field, and he gets it across the 40. This is going to be another first down.
And Orton standing in there against four-man rush and had plenty of time to deliver that. If the Titans aren't getting pressure with just 4 men down, they're going to have to send more people on the pass rush to get Orton off his game, and then that leaves them thinner in the back end. It's all a game of who can I save in my defense to make the most difference, and now the Tennessee Titans are probably going to have to send more people to bother Kyle Orton.
From the 41-yard line, first and 10 for Denver. They trail by 3. McGahee picking his way to the 45, close to the 46-yard line, a gain of 5 yards.
And you look at Kyle Orton, what he did in the first half. You know, they were coming after him. He takes the big shot, draws the penalty there, but then just finds people, stands in the pocket, had time to do it, spreading the football around, and hits a nice touchdown throw. Great read, great throw. It's only 10 of 19 in the first half. They're only 3 points down.
Now became a father for the first time about 3 weeks ago. His daughter Olivia was born, so he says it's already been a good start to the season. And Orton will take a timeout. So 7:10 left in the third. 10-7. Titans. House here at LP Field. John Fox hoping his Denver Broncos can get something going. It's 2nd and 5 for Denver from their own 46-yard line. McGahee to the 47-yard line. Derek Morgan made the stop.
Now the Broncos starting to get some production out of their running game. Brings up a 3rd and 3 on 2 straight runs to McGahee, 1 right, 1 left. And in retaliation, the Tennessee Titans bring in a full, fresh crew of defensive linemen.
3rd and 4. They have to get it just into Tennessee territory for a first down. Quick pass to Decker. Dives forward and looks like he's got it. Alteron Werner was there trying to pull him back.
Yeah, great job by Decker just extending the ball past the line to gain. They're going to get him a first down. It's just a quick little whip screen off play action. And the object is just to dive for that first down somehow. And you see there Werner does a nice job. Shrugs off the block by the big tight end Daniel Fells and almost saves the first down.
They're going to measure, and it will be by the length of the football. Nice second effort from Eric Decker. He had a breakthrough game last week in his first NFL start. 5 passes for 113 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the game winner. Guy who grew up in a small town in Minnesota, Cold Spring, which is close to St. Cloud. Worked a lot with Kyle Orton in the offseason, and Orton told us he thinks Decker's the real deal. He said he's got the tools to really take off. First and 10 for Denver. They trail by 3. Orton gets rid of it to McGahee, and Orton did a good job avoiding the first wave.
Yeah, the first wave was a crashing wave coming in. It was a good job. He ducked underneath it and kept the play alive, but they had the perfect defense. It's a bootleg. Orton's supposed to run out there, and he just whiffs Michael Griffin and then has the presence of mind to turn back and find McGahee.
After all of that, a 1-yard gain, 2nd and 9. Ball with some room. Down to the 41-yard line before Jason McCourty made the stop, a pickup of 7.
And that's what's going to happen in the run games for these two teams. Ball did a nice job of it there. Somebody's going to have to make a player miss. Ball went in, jumped up into the line of scrimmage, and then bounced it to the outside out of the arms of the tackler and got the good gain out of it. And that's what it's going to take on both sides, both for the Titans and for the Broncos. Somebody's going to have to make a play to get something going in the running game.
3rd and 2. Ball stays in the game. The lone setback. Short drop, the out route to Decker. That's caught in a first down for Denver. Griffin drove him out of bounds. That was good for 7 yards.
All right, and it really says something about Decker coming in and Orton just finding him. They worked together in the offseason quite a bit. But when Decker, who wasn't expected to play all that much in the offense, came into the game last week and got over 100 yards in receptions, there's no question Orton feels comfortable throwing it to him this week. And it's been a couple of key first downs where Decker's been the main guy.
Broncos on the move. Quick hitch, again Decker. Dives forward, inside the 30, and a late flag.
Personal foul. Face mask, number 93. Defense, 15-yard penalty, and an automatic first down.
Well, that's a huge penalty, and it's not the first one they've gotten. Sean Smith caught in extracurricular activities after the play was over. He ripped the helmet off of one of the Denver players. And, you know, the penalties are really, at the end of this game, if the Titans aren't able to hang on and win this, penalties are going to be the reason why.
And this is substantial.
Right here.
They move it all the way down to the 14-yard line. A gain of 5 yards on the play, plus 15. High formation. Orton goes underneath. That's Spencer Larson, the fullback. Larson is down inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line. Pickup of 6.
One of the things that's happening now is Kyle Orton's got enough time in the pocket to sit back. He's letting the receivers go deep and then waiting until the Titans drop too deep into coverage to come up and cover the short pass and the short run. They're getting good gains on 1st and 2nd down because of it.
This has been an impressive drive. 12th play upcoming. McGahee, great penetration. Nowhere to go. Derek Morgan made the stop.
Well, they're going to give him a gain of about 1, which brings up a 3rd and very short here in the red zone. And this is when, you know, the field gets wide and short. So the defenders, the object for the offense is to get the defenders to go sideline to sideline to open up gaps. Not go vertical and stretch the field because there's no room.
No Sean Moreno, you saw him on the sideline. He's dressed, but John Fox told us available only in an emergency situation. 3rd and 3. And that was caught and a first down.
Wow.
Larson.
The big fullback plucking that ball off the top of the grass to make the catch. Watch, he comes out, just turns around, and Orton gets it, and
wow,
just a fantastic catch. Orton's trying to get that ball out there and kind of gets over the top of it and throws it low. Great job by Larson.
1st and goal. Larson is a true fullback with great hands, as you saw there, so he makes plays for Denver in the passing game. Decker, the motion man. Play action. Orton, lots of time, incomplete. Intended for Eric Decker.
We've got another guy with his helmet off for the Broncos as well. I mean, it's really getting chippy down inside with the big guys. Watch as Decker is going to come over in motion and then wait. Well defended there. Great job by McCourty. He knew that was coming, and he knew Decker was not going to try and get deep to the corner. He squatted right on that route. Well defended.
2nd and goal. Titans trying to make a stand and protect a 3-point lead here late in the 3rd. McGahee. A swarming Tennessee defense led by Dave Ball.
Well, Sean Smith getting a little bit of it back. After getting that bad penalty to extend this drive, Dave Ball, Sean Smith got some penetration and stuffed that play for a loss.
3rd and goal. From the 5. Orton. McGahee, touchdown, Denver.
Orton threw that with such velocity, even though Cortland Finnegan saw it, he couldn't get there in time to defend it. Great catch by McGahee. He just comes out, he's just gonna come out right here and hook up right over the goal line, and Orton just fires it in.
And Orton really had nowhere else to go. Prater with the extra point. And the Denver Broncos regain the lead after a 16-play drive. "16 plays, 80 yards on the drive. It took 8 minutes off the clock." McGahee, who's a tough runner in the red zone, that time with a 5-yard touchdown reception from Kyle Orton. Great numbers for Orton on that drive. 9 of 10 for 52 yards.
And that'll give you an idea of the quality of John Fox and his coaching staff. They made some adjustments that made all the difference at halftime, going to those tactics you just mentioned, the short passing game. Helped their running game and everything. That was a good drive by the Broncos.
Prater boots it out of the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20. Matt Hasselbeck will go back to work when we return. And we're back. Penalties a big part of the story here as Denver leads 14-10. Take a look at that. Tennessee, 7 penalties for 65 yards. This is the 100th play of the game. No penalties so far for the Broncos. Hasselbeck. Ball's on the ground. And that was stripped away.
Some traffic in the pocket. Somebody slapped it out of his hand.
Trying to get them unpiled.
And I'll tell you, the strongest cat gets it. It's not who starts out with it. It's not always the guy who starts out with it when they pile up. It's the guy who gets it when it gets piled up inside there. Look at Hasselbeck trying to cheer on the defense. He was in the pocket, and watch, it's just going to get slapped out of his hands by Von Miller, who comes in. That's just a great play by the rookie. And then Jake Scott tries to hook it and get it in there.
Looked like Jake Scott had it.
Yeah, it looks like Jake Scott, 73, looks like he's going to get it. And then right there, you see it.
Somehow Derek Harvey came away with it.
Wow.
Former first-round pick by Jacksonville. Signed with the Broncos last month, and he's got a big turnover for Denver. They are already leading 14-10. McGahee. Down to the 11-yard line.
Turnovers have always been a huge factor in any NFL game, and when you turn it over in your own end, particularly when your opponent's offense is just starting to get hot, it couldn't be worse at this point of the game for the Titans. And it was a great play by Von Miller, who got in and just got enough of the football to knock it out of Matt Hasselbeck's grip.
Von Miller, who posted his first NFL sack last week, rookie out of Texas A&M, second pick overall. McGahee muscles his way down to the 7-yard line.
Broncos coming out and just absolutely refusing to give up on their run game, and Willis McGahee just putting his shoulder down and getting tough yards inside.
So that will be the end of the third quarter. Our score, Denver 14, the Titans 10. We'll return to Nashville after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Matt Hasselbeck was over talking with his receivers, Nate Washington, Mark Mariani, and Damian Williams during the timeout. This is a big third down coming up for the Tennessee Titans. Trying to limit the Broncos to a field goal after the turnover. Yeah, that would be encroachment.
And that's another bad penalty by the Titans.
Hakeem Ayers with a rookie mistake.
Encroachment, number 96. Half the distance to the goal. Third down. Correct?
Yeah, not 96, 56. I mean, I don't know. He's gambling, and he lost.
And he saw the center, J.D. Walton, pick his head up. And he took that as a signal to go. So, well, Mike Munchak feeling a little frustrated at the moment.
That turns a 3rd and 6 into a 3rd and 6 inches.
So they bring some extra beef inside, the jumbo package on defense. And again, flags before the snap. Titans are saying false start.
And it's against the Titans. The defender flinched into the neutral zone, and the offensive lineman. And the Titans are thinking.
Defense, number 94. Half the distance to the goal. Result of that penalty. 1st and goal.
Wow.
Denver.
Another penalty against Tennessee.
And I think it's a good job by the center, J.D. Walton. Watch here. See, that's perfectly legal. The center drops his head to look back. And the Titans just jump into the neutral zone because of it.
9 penalties, 70 yards, none for Denver. Orton lofts it out of the end zone.
That was a throwaway right away. He knew as soon as he let up from the play action that play was snapped off, and he just threw it.
Fells, the tight end, was in the vicinity.
Yeah, that's a play as an offensive coordinator. You tell your quarterback, listen, if it's not completely wide open, go ahead and throw it, but throw it into the first row, because we're going to line up, particularly on 1st and goal. They got plenty of time. That's a throwaway down if it does not work.
In the power I formation, McGahee, tough running inside. The Titans are saying they have the football.
The officials aren't going for it. They don't even think there was a fumble.
And that'll bring up 3rd down.
We'll see here. Watch the Tennessee lineman just stand up to it and get on the Denver side of the line of scrimmage. And a great job you see down inside. Jason Jones standing tall in the middle.
3rd and goal for Denver. McGahee, 2nd effort. Stops short of the goal line. A swarming Tennessee defense. Sinderic Marks had the initial penetration.
And it looks like they've got McGahee bottled up, but somebody gets him by the leg, and he just pulls free to get down close. And right there, look, he reached across, but they're saying his knee was down before he extended across the goal line. Right there, it's a great job by Marks. Just can't pull him down. Great physical run by McGahee.
And a terrific defensive stand by the Tennessee Titans.
John Fox will take Elands all the way out onto the field to get a timeout.
13:34 left to play here in Nashville. Denver offense is back out on the field.
I like this call.
4th and goal.
I like this call by John Fox. It bottles them up even if they don't get the touchdown.
And here we go. McGahee stops short. It'll go over on downs.
That's okay if you're the Denver Broncos. Let them have all their cheers and stuff. They still have it 1st and goal on their own 1-yard line, but that's a great defensive stop by the Titans.
Still a 4-point ball game. Great job by the Titans defense. Denver scores on an 80-yard drive, then got a short field. They had first and goal from the 2 and come away with no points.
Yeah, good news, bad news. Good news is you stopped them. Bad news, it's your ball right there.
Chris Johnson, just about 6 yards deep in the end zone. And he gets it. Pushed back, and the ball may have come out. Let's take another look at the stop on 4th down.
And it's all about playing on the offensive side of the line of scrimmage. If you're up front, you see the guys going low and guys going high. What you try and do is let the blockers kind of go through and then try and pick your way into the backfield to pick up the guy, the ball carrier. In this case, they did a good job of it.
There was no fumble on the previous play, so 2nd and 9. Hasselbeck, short drop. Quick strike. Washington diving forward for a first down. That will move the chains.
And I'll tell you, that's an enormous first down for the Tennessee Titans, and the crowd really appreciates it. He's going to come out just a normal hitch. Cassius Vaughn starting in place of Champ Bailey. Just a great throw and catch and a great effort for the first down. Can't put a value on that first down. That's huge.
Titans without their playmaker, Kenny Britt, injured in the first half, still in the locker room. Screen to Johnson. Still on his feet. And there's a marker on the play.
This is going to be a hold, and this time the first penalty on Denver, it looks like.
Personal foul, face mask, number 51, Keaton. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run.
First penalty of
Tennessee.
the day on the Denver Broncos after 9 against Tennessee.
Well, there's never a good time for a penalty. And you'll see right there is the face mask, and that's not a face mask, more of a horse collar. They called it a face mask because they probably didn't get a good look at it, but either way, it's a penalty.
Joe Mays, the middle linebacker, he had some bone-jarring hits last week against the Bengals. Also back under center. Try to run it to the right side. Broncos do a good job extending the play, stringing it out. Tonight on the season premiere of 60 Minutes, inside the best counter-terror team in the world, New York City's elite police force, plus the creators of South Park. 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS.
Once again, Denver loading up against the run for the Titans, not gonna let Chris Johnson hit the home run. The Titans still staying with that running game.
2nd and 9 after a pickup of 1. Hasselbeck, who's been solid today, and the receiver falls down. That was Lavelle Hawkins.
Yeah, I don't know what happened on that. Hasselbeck threw it, and it looked like he just slipped and fell. Yeah, he tripped over the 40-yard line.
That'll bring up 3rd and 9.
You want to talk about a team who has really done it to themselves today. It's the Tennessee Titans. Penalties and then falling down on a play like that. Drop passes by Chris Johnson. It's just one thing after another. Doing all they can really to help the Denver Broncos stay in this game and now have the lead.
And yet Tennessee is hanging around. It's just a 4-point margin, 14-10. Just under 11 minutes remaining. Damian Williams, the intended receiver, and that was thrown behind him.
And for a drive that started out with some promise, this one fizzled out in a hurry, and Matt Hasselbeck looked a little confused. He looked like he thought they should have been in a different formation to begin with, then decided to go ahead and throw it, and then he's walking off the field looking at his wristband like he didn't quite understand what was going on there. That might have been a communication issue between Chris Palmer and Matt Hasselbeck.
Quan Cosby, who's had a good day in his first appearance with the Denver Broncos, standing back at the 21-yard line. This is the first punt of the second half. Cosby feels it at the 25 and brought down immediately. 10:40 left to go. a 44-yard punt. First and 10 from the 26-yard line. The delay as the Broncos keep it on the ground. McGahee.
The offensive line doing a nice job. The Broncos, they held up the defenders of the Titans so that they couldn't get around their blocks. They really did a nice job of keeping them away from McGahee and let him find a spot, a weakness in the defense, and just eke out a few yards.
That was good for 3 yards. Second and 7. Broncos looking to take some time off the clock. Virgil Green, the rookie out of Nevada, with the catch. And that's a first down for Denver.
Kyle Orton doing a nice job just continually finding the open guy, but it's all set up really at this point by McGahee in the run game. They've done a nice job of staying with it and getting enough production so that Tennessee is really starting to focus on it and losing track of guys sneaking out into the pattern.
They spotted at the 36-yard line. Just over 9.5 minutes remaining. Showing blitz, here they come. Lloyd, who's been quiet today, and a short gain. Jason McCourty was right there. McCourty with an interception earlier today.
And we knew Brandon Lloyd going to be back in the lineup. We asked John Fox if he was going to be 100%. He said he's the closest one. All the guys we've got injured, you know, they've had 5 guys, key guys who are injured, and all had some sort of muscle strain, either a groin or a hamstring. Lloyd has been the guy who's been out for a while, who's back in, probably the closest to being 100%.
Second and 9. Orton batted, and that was nearly intercepted. Gerald McGrath had a shot at it. So did Jason Jones.
Yeah, this is knocked down by Klug. And you're right, anytime that ball gets batted up into the air, it's dangerous for the offense.
Klug is the rookie out of Iowa. He stepped in and played well. So far, he had a sack and forced 2 fumbles last week against the Ravens. So 3rd and 9, and they're on their feet here in Tennessee. Lance Ball is in the backfield with Orton. They rush 4. Orton gets rid of it. Ball will be stopped short of a first down. Barrett Ruud made the stop at the 44-yard line.
And it's been interesting because Tennessee, their defense has played well enough to not only be in the game on the scoreboard, but really to be ahead, and yet the penalties they've incurred on themselves gives them a 4-point loss. The 2 crucial penalties, extended drives that led to points for Denver, and here they sit trailing by 4 midway through the 4th quarter.
Mariani standing back at his own 10-yard line, waiting the punt from Britton Colquitt. Good high punt. Mariani at the 10 and brought down immediately. Nice coverage on the punt by Chris Harris. A 46-yard punt. And there's a penalty marker on the field.
He's back at the line of scrimmage.
During the kick, holding, number 31 of the return team. Half the distance from the end of the kick. 1st and 10. Timeout on the field.
7:54 left to go. Still a 4-point Denver lead. Just under 8 minutes remaining. A long field for the Tennessee Titans. This is exactly the kind of situation where Kenny Britt has been so valuable for Matt Hasselbeck. But they're going to have to do it with Britt in the locker room, injured. From his own end zone. Gets it out to Quinn Johnson, the fullback. He powers his way across the 10, close to the 13-yard line. Woodyard and Vaughn made the stop, and here's what happened to Kenny Britt in the first half.
Just an innocuous little out route. He gets spun around. His foot comes down awkwardly, and he gives the football up. He knows he's hurt. Led to a turnover, and then we have not seen him since this scene right there, and they've missed him in this second half, and they'll miss him in this fourth quarter.
2nd and 3. Hasselbeck to the sideline. Damian Williams was the intended receiver, and you can tell the timing is just not the same as it is with Kenny Britt.
Absolutely. You look at the receiving core of the Tennessee Titans and what they've done today. Nate Washington still being steady, continuing to have a pretty good year. Chris Johnson, and he's had a couple of drops as well, so trying to spread it around, but somebody's going to have to step up and fill the void left by Kenny Britt, whether it's one or two guys or whether it's Matt Hasselbeck just manufacturing something.
3rd and 3. They run the screen to Ringer. Javon Ringer has a big first down for Tennessee to keep the drive going.
Just a nice job by Hasselbeck. A little bit of a watch as he'll look to his left. You see him look over there, and then comes back to the right, finds Ringer, well blocked up front by the offensive line. Just got to get enough for the first down and gets plenty of room. Hasselbeck knows that's exactly, you see there, he says, good call, talking to Chris Palmer.
4-yard gain. Spotted at the 17-yard line. Ringer stays in the game. Hasselbeck with time. Oh, what a catch by Stevens, a tight end! All the way down to the 24-yard line of the Denver Broncos. Brian Dawkins finally made the stop after a pickup of 58 yards.
Well, Hasselbeck had plenty of time. He stood in there very poised. As much pressure and as active as the front seven of Denver's been, he stands in tall and delivers a perfect throw, and Stevens does a great job. He knows he's got no shot at outrunning the defensive backfield of the Broncos, so he just wraps it up, gets what he can get, and ends up getting almost 60 yards on the play.
Stevens is a guy who they really like as a blocker. It's Jared Cook who usually makes catches like that. And finally some running room for Chris Johnson. Woodyard made the tackle after a pickup of 8.
And this is the nicest run Chris Johnson's had to date in the 2011 football season. He gets up inside and picks his way through. And as always happens when you nick a defense for a big play, it takes them a play or two to gather themselves.
2nd and 2. Titans trailing by 4, on the move, just over 5 minutes left. Hasselbeck guns it, a strike to Washington, inside the 5. Cassius Vaughn made the stop.
Well, Nate Washington knows what it is to go in pressure situations. He's the free agent that came over from Pittsburgh. He's played in the big games. He knows how to be there when the team really needs him. Perfect guy to go to in the absence of Kenny Britt. He'll take a break after that catch. But Hasselbeck finding the go-to guy down deep.
93 yards today for Washington. That was good for 13. 1st and goal for Tennessee. Hasselbeck will throw. Wide open! Daniel Graham, the former Bronco.
You can say what you want to about how the Titans have played. It's been undisciplined. They've gotten all kinds of penalties. They couldn't run the football. But Mike Munchak's team with Matt Hasselbeck has found a way to get the lead from the Broncos late in this game. What a great play call by Chris Palmer. Absolutely perfect execution for an easy completion against a defense that's played extremely well up to that point.
Daniel Graham all alone in the end zone. 7 plays, 95 yards. Baronis with the extra point, and the Titans have regained the lead. 17-14 here in Tennessee. A 95-yard drive by the Tennessee Titans, and those two guys played big roles. Craig Stevens with the 58-yard catch, and then Graham against his former teammates with the touchdown. And it's a 3-point Titans lead with 4:24 left to play. Juan Cosby back deep, standing 5 yards deep in the end zone. Unreturnable. They'll bring it out to the 20.
And you'll take another look at how Daniel Graham got so open. Watch as he's going to be right here, but what happens? He's going to block and then just leak out into the flat. So by blocking, he kind of takes the attention away from himself, and then he just sneaks out and there's nobody home.
And Daniel Graham was the 11th receiver to catch a pass for the Titans today. Matt Hasselbeck has used his entire toolkit and is over 300 yards. And now we'll see if the Broncos can answer. McGahee, nice hole up the middle. And upended at the 30 by McCourty. That was good for 10 yards and a first down.
Yeah, that was a nice run up the middle by McGahee. It's a great tackle by McCourty, but the damage was done. It was 10 yards deep in the secondary. McGahee on the delay. Nice job up front. The Broncos offensive line, almost better than any offensive line, gets to the second level of the defense like nobody else.
McGahee, 21 carries, 49 yards. Short drop, the out. Decker, the intended receiver, and he was pretty well covered out there. Jordan Babineau, the strong safety, was in the vicinity.
It's great coverage. Watch, McCourty's going to take him deep, and Babineau tries to sneak underneath. That's a play you know they've seen on film. They had a gotcha. If Orton doesn't throw that badly, that's picked off going the other direction.
2nd and 10. The delay, McGahee. Not much room. Jarrell Casey, the rookie, made the stop after a pickup of 2.
And the Titans doing their best, trying to get this offense of the Broncos off the field so they can get their offense on the field to try and run this clock out. The Broncos, this is not 4-down territory with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. They're going to have to, if they don't get this first down, if it's not 4th and very, very short, I think they'll punt it away.
Big play upcoming. 3rd and 8. They rush 4. Orton, lots of time to Decker. He's going to have a first down. He dives forward to the 42-yard line.
And the Broncos now are going to probably start to huddle. This is a great job. Decker has been fantastic today, just getting first down after first down. If the ball is within reach, he catches it. He gets every yard coming to him. Orton stands in the pocket, doesn't get happy. He waits, and then delivers it. Great job by Orton standing in the pocket.
7 catches, 48 yards for Decker. 2.5 minutes remaining. Orton will throw, and that's caught at the 40. Brandon Lloyd. He's been quiet today, but a big play there. Down to the 37-yard line of the Tennessee Titans.
And this is a strike by Orton as Lloyd comes off the ball, guarded by Finnegan. Finnegan not going to let him have the deep one. He's got no safety help. He had to guard against the deep route. He had his eyes in the backfield and just wasn't enough.
20-yard gain, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning. 17-14 Titans, but the Broncos are driving. On their feet here in Tennessee, the Broncos are down to their final timeout. They are inside the range from Matt Prater. It would be a long field goal try into the wind, though. Orton escapes and gets out of bounds. Will Witherspoon was in pursuit and pushed him out.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous play by Orton because Will Witherspoon's doing everything he can to finish this play very physically and maybe ding Orton up a little bit. Orton would have been better just to throw that football out of bounds as he's running over there. No need to keep that football in your hand.
2nd and 11. The clock stopped with 1:52 left to play. Empty backfield. 5 receivers set. Short drop for Orton. Incomplete. Finally got over to Matthew Willis.
Orton's got all kinds of time. He's sitting back there scanning the entire field. He finally comes off to Willis, but the defensive backfield of the Titans doing a good job not giving him any options. He finally came back to his 3rd option, which was Willis. But that offensive line of Denver is absolutely giving him as much protection as he needs.
3rd and 11 for the Broncos. They trail by 3. 1:46 left. Tipped. Intercepted. Intercepted by Will Witherspoon. And it's gotten ugly over by the Denver bench.
Well, it's been chippy all game, and when it ends like that, on a bad luck interception from Orton, he tried to fit that football in and got tipped, and once it gets tipped, all bets are off. He had plenty of time to throw it. It's going to get tipped right at the line of scrimmage, and it goes right into the waiting arms of McCarthy. Excuse me, Witherspoon, you see there.
And it was Jason Jones who got a hand on it. And Witherspoon, the veteran playmaker for the Titans at outside linebacker, and he's got a big one there.
Despite the penalties, the drop passes, the lack of a running game, the Tennessee Titans find a way to beat a Denver team that did not play that badly. They got a couple of breaks, but Denver just couldn't get it going enough in the first half to get them close enough.
Broncos have only 1 timeout remaining, and a couple of penalty flags are down. Ringer trying to fight for an extra yard or 2.
This is going to go against the Titans.
Illegal formation. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Well, coming up on the Subway post-game show, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from a busy Week 3. That's all coming up on the Subway post-game show. 11 penalties for the Titans for 80 yards, only 1 for the Broncos. It really is amazing that they have been able to overcome that. Something you just don't see that often. Ringer with the carry.
And immediately the Broncos take a timeout, and the Broncos trying to get somebody to fight and to get the clock stopped even further, maybe get another advantage. I mean, the Titans have been getting penalties the entire game. It's not out of the question for them to get another one.
But Broncos take their final timeout. And tonight on CBS, don't miss Emmy winner Juliana Margulies in the season premiere of The Good Wife. Catch it on its new night and time tonight after The Amazing Race. Only CBS. Tough break for Kyle Orton.
It really is, and it's going to go down as an interception, and you have quarterbacks all over the league, but when the ball gets tipped, that's bad luck, if you ask me.
Ringer. Drop for a loss.
Now, you're not going to see the running backs try and get extra yards. They're going to get hit, get what they can get, and get to the ground with the ball in their hands.
Raheem Moore, the rookie. Free safety out of UCLA. 2nd-round draft pick was there. Tell you the numbers from Matt Hasselbeck. Again, just terrific today. 27 of 36. For 311 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And I think it goes into the point where, as you see there, they're thinking about what they're going to do with their last timeout or the last couple of timeouts. They're going to let this play clock go down to the bottom and take their timeout with about 40 seconds left in the game.
That's exactly what they'll do. And again, really without much production from their featured weapon over the last few years, one of the best in the National Football League, maybe one of the best in the history of the National Football League, Chris Johnson. But Matt Hasselbeck has taken it on his shoulders, and he did it in the second half without Kenny Britt. And once again, coming up on the Subway postgame show, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 3. Coming up on the Subway postgame show. So 3rd and 14, and now they'll be able to take a knee.
That's it. The play clock goes beneath the game clock, and that's going to be it as the Titans get out of here. The play, the drive of the game, inside their 10-yard line, going 95 yards for the touchdown. Gave him the lead and the victory.
And big plays from 2 tight ends in that drive. Craig Stevens and then Daniel Graham, the former Bronco, who was a team captain for 4 years in Denver. So the Titans will move their record to 2-1. The Broncos will drop to 1-2. Final score, 17-14 for Steve Tasker. Bill McAtee saying so long from Nashville. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Time for the Subway postgame show as we go now to JB